This week, I've collated a few of my thoughts on surrendered intimacy, looking at the challenges and joys when it comes to creating closeness in relationships. Now, rather like the 7 spiritual questions I answered in episode 129, you can think of these thoughts as a series of contemplations or meditations even. There's even a chime in between each one. And while they're focused on those intimate relationships, remember that life is full of relationship. And there are many levels and many meanings to intimacy. It isn't all about the sexual side of togetherness. So as you listen, consider how these might apply to all the relationships in your life. Now, we'll be looking at surrender and intimacy, the dance of masculine and feminine, rage and tenderness, creating safety in the midst of conflict, fear of loss in love, remembering your lover is not your source, the art of powerful words, and what really matters about who you surround yourself with. It's a jam-packed episode, so stay tuned and let's dive in. Welcome to the Be a Brilliant Human podcast with me, Joel Young. If you're looking to improve your life, to heal, to grow, and mature as an individual, but maybe you found that some of the personal development and consciousness stuff has given you the impression that you need to be super serious and vigilant to get anywhere meaningful, or feeling like maybe you're just not up to snuff. Well, this show is here to remind you of your humanity, and in fact that's where your true joy and brilliance lies. With over 25 years of experience in the transformation biz and having developed MPA, one of the world's simplest, pressure-free approaches to growth and well-being, if I do say so myself, I'll be sharing tips, steps, and insights that'll help you navigate all the aspects of life as a growth-seeking being. On this show, it comes to you with a good dose of humour, maybe a smattering of colourful language, a reminder not to take things so personally, and most importantly, to be kind to yourself along the way. Make sure you hit that follow button, and let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to the Be a Brilliant Human podcast with me, Joel Young. We're at episode number 133, which means two things. Firstly, you can find the show notes if you go to www.beabrillianthuman.com/133, using the numbers, not the words. And it also means there's 132 previous episodes to go binge listening to if you so desire. Especially if you're brand new, and welcome, by the way, if you're brand new. I love that you found this show in some marvellous search or being told by somebody else kind of a way. In fact, I find that most people hear it by word of mouth, in spite of all my social media efforts. What can you do? That's not true. Often people do find it by random searches, find the show. So if you're one of those, I'm delighted that you're here. I take things with a pinch of salt. I'm very human in my approach to personal growth and spirituality. Today, I'm really looking at a number of things or topics around the area of surrender and intimacy, really about creating close relationships. So a few weeks back in episode 129, I did something similar. And I said on that episode that it's a thought that I'd had a while ago to sort of curate some of the sort of mini blogs that I'd done under a theme and share them with you in an auditory manner. And I've kind of done the same. I've been through a lot of those blogs, as mini blogs really, and brought together the thoughts that sort of relate to this topic and ordered them in a way which I think or hope makes sense somehow. So I hope you enjoy that. As I said, these are kind of, you can treat these as meditations. I'm even going to put a chime sound between them just to sort of give you that meditation feel. It's really something to contemplate. Obviously, they're always my perspective, and I'm always open to hearing your feedback on, how you find that. If you have a difference of opinion, I'm open to hearing that. If you think, you're damn right, or I hadn't thought of that, let me know in the usual places in the comments. If you are on my social media, on Facebook, MPA Rocks, or on Instagram at Joel Young MPA, go find the comment section. Or maybe you're a YouTuber and you're watching on YouTube, watching/listening. It's a weird thing. Podcast, non-video on YouTube. It does that pretty, if you haven't watched it on YouTube, it's a picture of me and some nice backdrop, the title, and then a sort of wobbly sound wave to keep you entertained, keep your eyes entertained. In which case you can comment there. And of course, please do share the show wherever you can, and make sure you hit that subscribe and follow stuff. Right, I'm rambling on. So a couple of things I'm going to be referencing today. As ever, I'm talking about NPA, non-personal awareness. These are very much non-personal perspectives. So if you're curious about that and you haven't already, why haven't you done this already? You're new. Okay, fair enough. Go and download the NPA sheet, which is a worksheet. It's a simple 6-line process that will help you stop taking things personally, and so much more. And also today's sponsored. I was thinking about sponsorship. Again, if you're a long time listener, you'll notice I'm doing these sponsorship spots. And I'm sponsoring my own show. The gift of not being, wildly Joe Rogan style successful. You do your own sponsorship slots. But it was a way to let you know about what's available. And today I'm sponsoring this show with the Loggerheads to Loverhearts 5-day challenge. Now, I love this challenge, and I think it needed more time in the limelight to let you know about it. If you've got a logjam, if you're going around in circles with somebody that you're in relationship with, that can be an intimate relationship, but any kind of relationship, over 5 days you'll get to clear that logjam. It's insanely well priced for the amount of value you get in there. But we'll hear the sponsorship slot a little later on. Both of those, the NPA sheet and the Loggerheads to Loverhearts, which is a long URL. It's the NPA Academy /Loggerheads to Loverhearts. That's TO, not number 2. And but you'll find, just go to the npaacademy.com. They're all there. It's that simple. And of course, all my other courses are on that website as well. All right, I think I've rambled enough. So let's dive in. We're going to start with surrender and intimacy. Surrender and intimacy. Surrender and true intimacy are deeply connected. Surrender here is the willingness to let down walls, remove masks, engage in unedited honesty, to share your innermost thoughts and feelings and risk your heart and perhaps even the relationship itself. Even the subtlest barrier, the smallest lie, the slightest withhold can diminish the potential for profound intimacy. It also comes as surrender to the truth of another, dropping your agenda or prejudgment, and to be with them in a state of curiosity, openness, wonder, and discovery. The greater your capacity for vulnerability and courageous, fearless relating, and the more surrendered to the energy of the moment, especially in the bedroom, you can be, the more fulfillment, joy, ecstasy, and heartful intimacy becomes available. Of course, the best of this comes when two souls match each other in an ever-deepening dance of love. And while it's true that if one of you has hit a limit, it tends to hold the deepening intimacy between you, it's also possible that if one of you is willing to stretch into deeper surrender, then you may lead and inspire the other to join you. No guarantees. Ultimately, it's in their hands. Now remember, the NPA process helps you drop your masks and agendas and has really helped people move into intimacy beyond their imagining. The dance of masculine and feminine. The masculine and feminine principles live in all of us, though at our core, we tend to be rooted in one or the other. Studies have shown that for around 80% of us, that's dictated by our gender. Around 15% are opposite, and 5% are genuinely neutral, 50-50. Now, as a side effect of some of our culture's very necessary and healing progress, our culture is experiencing a lot of confusion in intimate relationships, as many feel morally or of necessity obliged to suppress their natural core polarity. Naturally feminine women feel they need to be more masculine in order to be empowered, and men feel they need to suppress their masculine to right the wrongs of centuries of twisted and abusive rather than divine expression of masculine energy. But in the divine and unapologetic expression of our core polarity, there is no imbalance of power, more a complementary dance that honours, cherishes, and supports the other. And standing in our core polarity in the context of intimacy keeps the juicy sparks of chemistry a-sizzling. A clue to your core polarity? Well, socialization tends to go out of the window at our edge. In other words, when we feel vulnerable or triggered. So while necessarily this is generalized, here's an idea of the shape of the dance of each polarity. At our edge, if we are rooted more in the feminine, we seek the rock-like security of the masculine, against which our waves of fear and insecurity can crash, and when sated, nestle into the shore with the gentle lapping of knowing we are loved and safe in all our expressions. At our edge, if we're rooted more in the masculine, we seek that radiant, softening love of the feminine to melt our steely walls and seduce us back to our hearts, knowing we can let go, be held, and recharge in the freedom of divine emptiness. Does one resonate more than the other with you? Let me know. Rage and tenderness. Rage and tenderness, the stuff of betrayal and love, of humanity and heartful consciousness, the stuff of growth through the deepest wounds, cracking the seed pod and reaching for the light. Bless your self-awareness and self-acceptance in the midst. In my experience, there's no rushing this time, no pushing, no forcing. What comes in its own time is merciful realization, clarity and release. Then, a true and real understanding of the point of it all, and the emergence of your next true bloom, there, to shine in its magnificence for its season. Creating safety in the midst of conflict. In relational dynamics, especially if it's that time to go take a breather and it's not the grand finale, I've found that it's kind of all round if you can offer some sense of reassurance as you step away. Now, it may seem like the other person can neither hear you nor cares, but something inside them is listening. So saying things like, I'm here when you're ready, I know we can work this out, and I need to go right now, tend to tear less at the bonds between you. And if you need to walk away, the reassuring words, I'll be back, can save a lot of potential extra wounding. This isn't only a sound approach at times when you need to walk away for a bit, but all throughout communications at these heated times. The more you can offer statements of intent to work it out together, to hear them, to be there, it's all good, as long as it's kind to you. Now, MPA has great tools for resolving relationship conflict or getting clear on whether it's time to move on. If you're in any kind of relational suffering, I'd love to help you get clear, find true peace, and take steps to a happier, healthier relationship either way. Words that are not reassuring in the midst of conflict can create a rift, a logjam, a stuckness that can loom large or sit quietly and fester in the background of a relationship, even for years. But there is a way out of that. So do take a moment and hear what I've got for you. Is there a relationship in your life where over and over you end up in the same story, the same fight, the same shutdown or stuckness? You find yourself going round in circles on the topic and making no progress. It makes you and the relationship feel stuck, which can be frustrating, heartbreaking, deflating, and erodes the relationship and ultimately your self-esteem. You and the other person might even find yourselves getting very reactive when it comes up, as you both feel powerless. You're at loggerheads with them. The lack of movement breeds stagnation or repetitive flare-ups, which can even sink into a painful war of attrition. It creates a lot of pain and a lot of misunderstanding, and it's a lose-lose for everyone. And perhaps there's blame in the mix. Perhaps of them, perhaps of you, probably a bit of both. And perhaps there's feelings of guilt born out of that, which kind of claws at your soul. Perhaps it feels like a grudge. And maybe there's a standoff that you're calling a necessary compromise. But deep down, the frustration simmers and puts a wedge in the intimacy or the connection between you and them. It can show up as zoning out, general dissatisfaction, or perhaps you've both become afraid to talk about it. And yet it hangs there between you. Now you deserve better. You can step into better and you can feel better, and that's where the Loggerheads to Lover Hearts 5-day challenge can take you. So naturally you want to feel empowered. You want something to change. You want to feel peace and connection in some form, certainly within yourself. Perhaps you want clarity and resolution, or to truly let go. You sense it's there, but for all your efforts, right now there's a gap and you can't reach it. But your heart really longs for it. Your body longs for that resting feeling when it can finally come out of alert status. The underlying stress is taking its toll and you know it. You long for inner alignment, so whatever action you take, whatever conversations you have, you know with no shadow of a doubt that you stay true to and honoured you, and through that, you've honoured them. Your heart is a lover. Loving is what it does best. It's what it wants to do, but things have built up in there, creating a logjam that until now you've not been able to break through. The Loggerheads to Lover Hearts 5-day challenge will invite you to face and challenge the status quo. It will give you the means to break through that logjam and activate your lover heart. It will reveal that one small shift that's right for you and you can easily make. You'll be empowered to break the cycle and experience the relief of movement that you long for. If you're tired of feeling the frustration and powerlessness of going round in circles, then sign up now and join us on this journey into the freedom of flow. To free a frustrating logjam in just 5 days, head on over to www.thenpaacademy.com/loggerheads to lover hearts. That's the npaacademy.com/loggerheads to lover hearts. I'll see you there. Fear of loss in love? Fear of loss in love affects many of us and can hold us back from loving fully. It can hold us back from giving ourselves fully. Perhaps it's fear of the hole we feel in our heart when we cannot be with our beloved, or fear that the rough and tumble of love's path will leave our hearts smashed and broken again. Perhaps more than that, it's the fear of sharing ourselves so very deeply. You know, all that stuff inside us that we secretly believe is unlovable. Should we find it can, against all odds, be loved? To have that taken away? Well, it's worse than death, right? But here's the thing. What if the whole point is the experience? What if being so vulnerably, deeply, rawly and beautifully open, what if sharing yourself with another so profoundly was the whole point of you embarking on the path of love? What if you got to experience this depth of connection, even for a single moment, you would be enriched beyond your wildest dreams. And what if you remembered that the heartbreak that may never come is something you've survived and grown from before? Love worth a damn, passionate, pulsing, soul-stirring, dizzy-making love is rarely a painless path. It's the classroom of transcendence and healing. It's the place to face your fears and ultimately find yourself. Be brave and bold, my friend. Love is why you came here. Remembering your lover is not your source. Often in relationship, we lose ourselves to the idea that our lover must prop up our sense of well-being. We have expectations of them based on that idea and forget that that is not their job. They are not our source of well-being. It's the cause of a lot of relational heartache. If they don't do, say, be, this or that, then we feel less than we are. We feel a right to get angry and demanding, either outwardly or passively. Now, whether you speak it in anger or stuff it down in fear, it has an energetic impact which throws water on the flame of passion. It can cause a slow and painful death to any relationship. So I encourage you to remember, you have direct access to infinite source energy, the fire of life, well-being, and all that juicy va-va-voom burns bright within you. When you connect with that, you get all that you are looking for without needing it from your lover, and they will feel it. They will feel you're not bringing need to them, not draining them. You are not another pull on their energy, but rather you are full and offer a choice for the exchange if they wish to join you there. In this, togetherness in all its expressions, sex, play, communication, mutual holding and support, fun times, whatever you desire, becomes a freedom, a choice, a place to be nourished for them rather than an obligation or a drain or additional service required of them in a land that they may well feel calls too much on them already. So let this be your mantra. Right now, assuming it's safe, see your lover in your mind's eye and say this out loud to them. I don't need anything from you. I am full as I am. I would love to enjoy the dance of love and union with you, but I definitely don't need it. I am fully filled with myself. I am full and offer you my fullness. I am filled with life force, and if you wish, I am ready and would love to share it with you. If you do not want it, I am no less of a man, woman, person. If you do not want it, then I am still full. If you want it and receive it, I am still full and have lots to give and would enjoy you so much. I see you and allow you to be who and where you are. I am here and I am full. I am me. And being me tapped directly into source is enough. I will meet you here when you are ready. Nothing you do or don't do makes me more or less of who I am. I enjoy me as I am. I enjoy me with you. I enjoy me with me. Our togetherness is the icing on the cake, not a necessity. Even as I tell you I want you, I demand nothing of you. I love you. I love me. I love us. I am here and I am full. See how that feels and let me know. The art of powerful words. Do your words match your energy? Words have power when they're connected. I'm talking full words from the heart, backed up with actions that mirror them, rather than empty words said for effect. You can feel the difference. When someone says, "Sure, I'll do that thing," and something inside knows there's no substance to that statement, there's an energetic mismatch. Empty words. It's very different when the same thing is said and the words carry power. There's an inner resting that happens as you feel the energy of alignment. The dis-ease here is the oh so common thought that you ought to be where you are not. I ought to agree, even though I don't. Underlying that is often the fear of the consequences of truth speaking, or even the fear of being honest with the self. All of us have access to the power of our word. It's just that it's often scary and humbling to join it. But as you practice the art, your life begins to move in miraculous ways. You can say someone else's affirmations until you're blue in the face, but if they are not connected for you, it's a long, hard road that may never bear fruit. MPA is a spoken word process, which has a mega secondary benefit of aligning you with the power of your word. As you learn and practice the process, it teaches you a skill that helps you find words that are connected. Whether they're words that express pains that want to leave or joys that are ready to be received, when you find them, you join the point of power. Then the MPA process itself simply greases the wheel, facilitating the shift that already has the energetic potential to happen. Over time, you naturally gravitate to speaking your truth, speaking with power, and living an aligned and miraculous life. What really matters about who you surround yourself with? I've been seeing a lot of posts getting shared that proclaim you should only surround yourself with people who insert positive aspect here. For example, people who lift you up, accept you as you are, support your dreams, etc., etc. And some posts which go so far as to say those that don't can fudge off. Well, okay, I get the idea and agree that it serves to be discerning in your choices about the company you keep. And who doesn't love being on the receiving end of someone else's light? But taken at face value, these posts engender a mindset of dangerous superficiality, the absence of compassion or an understanding of human nature. This can stunt the growth of the heart and limit the capacity to encounter a deepening intimacy. Why? Because people are humans. And part of being human is that we are, in our wholeness, a mix of light and dark. Beyond the rose-tinted romantic phase of any relationship, growth and deepening intimacy is about meeting and walking through the contrast, seeing the imperfection of the other, letting them see it in you, and choosing love together. This is not about putting up with abuse or not communicating clear boundaries or preferences. Neither is it suggesting that there aren't times when letting go is a good thing. Rather, it's an invitation. If you're pondering what to surround yourself with, to consider surrounding yourself with an attitude of discovery, understanding, and a healthy sense of who you and others are in their wholeness. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this show, I'd love you to do me a solid and tell someone about it. They can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, and most other podcast platforms. Plus, if you visit the website www.BABrillianthuman.com, you can share the show notes to social media and make my day. Also, make sure you hit that follow button, and if you haven't yet downloaded the MPA process sheet, head on over to joelyoungmpa.com and get your free copy today. Big love, and see you next time.